But anyways, Emil, thanks so much for joining us.
All right. Well, one thing real quick, if you wouldn't mind, I am wearing a horrible mustache right now for the month of November because I participate in Movember. So I try to raise some awareness about cancer and try to collect some fundraising for cancer research. So if anybody feels obliged to do some donations and help fight cancer, you can go to my YouTube channel, Way of the Wrench, and there is a 2-week-old video there for cancer research for Movember. You can click on there and find the link for me to donate to my Movember. And I'm trying to do a hefty goal this year of $5,000. So
Oh,
we're getting close, but I could appreciate the help. Yeah, I'm trying to use my social platform as much as possible, and I keep upping it $500 every year. So yeah.
that's awesome. I'll actually
Um,
drop that in
so
the
yeah,
chat too.
perfect, awesome. So yeah, my name is Emil Jurica, and I am a technology teacher in Canada, Vancouver, Canada. And I am a kid of the arcades, a child of the 80s. And I fell in love with arcade machines and played them to death back in the day. And I remember pinball, but I actually didn't play too much of it because it was always double the price. It was 50 cents to play. And I didn't have anybody to teach me how to play. So I would be done in 30, 40 seconds and go, okay, that was a waste, and head over to Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat and play that
Yeah.
instead. So I had this passion for the arcade. And when I was making an arcade cabinet tutorial series on how to build your own cabinet for YouTube, I had a comment that said, you should do one of these series for virtual pinball. And I did not know anything about this. This was 3.5 years ago. And so I started looking into it, and I thought, man, this is seriously cool. This deserves a whole tutorial series. And I was blown away at how much information there you needed to learn. It's quite a bit. It's quite daunting when you first look at it all. And if I was
Yeah.
feeling that as a tech ed teacher with tons of trades experience, I knew there's going to be lots of people that would really benefit from series like this. So started filming it, and I'm doing it from a teaching point of view as opposed to just doing it. And so I think that is helping people with the information as well. And I try to break down all the series episodes into little smaller chunks so that they kind of make sense that, this is how to install the monitors, and this is how to make the cabinet and how to paint it and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been busy the last couple of years making virtual pinballs.
It's such an amazing feat. And
And
before you got into this big budget build, you did another kind of more budget friendly pinball build as well too a few years ago. After you completed that
yeah,
one,
so
you weren't like satisfied with the fact that okay, I made a virtual pinball cabinet. Now you have to
no,
take it
no,
to the
not
next
at all.
level.
That's actually Yeah, no, that's actually not why I did the series. So the first series, like you said, was a budget build. I realized that a lot of people don't have a ton of money, myself included. I'm not going to go spend 10 grand and go buy one of these pre-made. And I didn't want to jump into 4K, 120 hertz, and a PC required for that right off the bat
Right.
either. So I built my budget build $1,500, but that required me doing a lot of DIY, a lot of stuff done myself, using and recycling used stuff. So used TVs, used PC. Literally, the computer that's in it was practically in the garbage can. It was one of my students. They weren't using it for a bunch of years, and it had a failed hard drive. So I went and got a brand new SSD drive, did a fresh Windows install, and that is what is in my budget build virtual pinball cabinet. And
That's amazing.
yeah, by no means is it not a great machine. I play that like 4 or 5 times a week still. It's a very fun machine. It's just not as good as you possibly could make, which requires more money. So the when I finished the budget build, I had a bunch of people reaching out to me, some sponsors, like you guys, Marco Specialties, to supply some of the parts. So you guys have supplied a lot of the real pinball parts, like the lockdown bar, receiver, and coin door, and legs, and all that kind of good stuff. And then there's a bunch of computer boards inside that are going to be in my parts video that's coming up right after this show
Nice.
from one company uh, called Arnaud, who's in France. So this is some high-end French stuff.
Very cool.
And then there's a guy down in the States from Cleveland Software Designs, who is giving me a lot of other parts like shaker motors and gear motors and LED matrix for the addressable LED light strips. A lot of cool stuff. And so this time it's building a series for what do you do when you want a bigger budget. You want the kind of the best of the best. So now I'm trying to make one that has a 4K monitor and 120 hertz. And why that matters is that literally you have twice the amount of resolution on it, so you can read all the letters, and everything looks a lot better and crisper and smoother.
Right.
And then the high refresh rate prevents any kind of stuttering or lag. You can actually, when the ball rockets from one end of the screen to the other, you're not seeing any stuttering or any lag or anything like that. And to be able to drive just that one monitor alone, you need a very healthy PC. So we go from a free PC to something that's $3,000, right? So big budget.
So is that the total price of the build of material and everything for this big budget one? It's 3,000?
for
That
the
was it?
for the for
For
the
the
big budget.
entire
No,
entire
I'm
big
going to,
budget.
when this thing's all done, it's going to be upwards of probably 5, 6, 7,000 probably when it's done. So just the computer alone is probably going to be about 3,000, 3,500. The one screen for just the play field, it was $1,500. This is all Canadian, by the way. So you guys
Oh,
watching
okay.
and listening in the States are probably like, oh
Yeah,
my
that sounds
God.
about right. It sounds
Yeah,
right.
it's like,
So closer to like 4 or
35%.
5. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then there's two more other screens, and then you need the cabinet, and then all the parts like we just talked about. So once you tally all that up, it will be quite substantially more than the budget build, which was only $1,500 Canadian. And one of the other kind of selling features for the budget build was that people don't have a lot of money, but you also don't have to spend it all at once, right? You're not dropping $1,500 right away to start getting into this hobby. You're just going to spend $200 in wood, and you're going to make the cabinets, and you're going to have fun enjoying that part of it, and sanding it and prepping it up.
Yeah.
And then you spend a little bit of money on the vinyl artwork. And then, you can spend slowly because you're not building this in a weekend. Now, it doesn't take 2 years like I took mine,
Well, you're
but that was
recording the
also
whole
mostly because I'm
process.
taking my time to film.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a one-man show here. I'm literally finishing my teaching job, kicking kids out of the class and filming, making, and then go home and play dad for a
Yeah.
couple hours, and then editing till like 11:30 at night. And that's my daily. So, yeah, so I took my time doing it that way, but you definitely take your time, spend money slowly over a year or two, and it's very doable for most people.
That's awesome. So for everyone here in the chat, thanks for joining us. We just dropped a link in the chat that is for the episode that is going to premiere in about 40 minutes or so on Way of the Wrench on YouTube. This is kind of going through all of the parts that you're putting into it, or give us like your little like a 30-second teaser pitch of what we can expect for your next episode installment.
All right, so the next episode is literally every single part that you need to build a high budget, high end virtual pinball cabinet. There's going to be a lot of new stuff that is way nicer and better, fancier than the budget build. So you're not trying to do it yourself and homebrew and cobble things together. There's going to be a bunch of boards in there that are brand new to the hobby. So things like the Dude's Cab from R&O's. So we need an input controller. Oh yeah, you wanted 30 seconds. This ain't 30 seconds. The Dude's board has some cool stuff on it. Allows the input buttons to have very low latency. So to give you an idea, most inputs on a button is going to be around like 14 milliseconds before the computer sees it, shows it. So on this Dude's Cab, it's down to 0.71 or 0.76 milliseconds. So it's going to be a lot faster, and so that we don't have this feeling of lag when you hit the flipper button and finally see the ball get hit. So lots of cool new parts. Not a crazy amount of detail because there's so many parts. It still already took 45 minutes, but these are the parts. These are all the links where you guys can go and get them and buy them and order them. And then as those parts are being installed in the cab in the appropriate video for that series, then we're going to go into depth on how do you actually set it up, how do you install it, and do the configurations and things like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so if y'all are following along with his journey or you want to, you just go to Way of the Wrench on YouTube. Again, the link's in the chat, and you can see all the playlists that Emil has created. So there's a big budget virtual pinball cab. I believe you're up to 6 or 7 episodes now. So seven is tonight.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, awesome. And then
And then
when
if
I
you,
looked, your virtual
yeah,
pinball cabinet one was like 50 something episodes too. That's just shows how
yeah, there's
detailed
lots.
you
And
were on the whole process, which is cool.
yeah, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. I remember being a kid watching car shows and like how to fix up cars and motorcycles back in the day. And I wanted to learn, right? I was a very hands-on kid making stuff. And I felt choked that I'd watch a half-hour episode. We'd see this beaten up car dragged into the shop, engine pulled, seats thrown on the ground, and then seconds later, a $10,000 crate motor's dropped off on a pallet, a couple shots of grinding and welding, and then they're in the paint booth spraying some color, and all of a sudden this car is done. And I sat there at the end of the episode going, what's going on? How do I want to learn how to do this? And it just feels like I'm wasting my time. So when I started my YouTube channel, I wanted to make sure that people watched my video. Oh, no way. No way. I just lost power. Oh, there we go. That's crazy. The full school lighting.
Oh wait.
That would have been
Oh,
hilarious.
did it? Yeah, it just turned off.
Um, so I wanted to make videos that people would watch and not only enjoy and find
Yeah, this is
entertaining,
great.
but they would learn something, right? And I try to do it in such a way that it's memorable, so that whatever you're learning, it's actually sticking, right? Like that's my what they call it, niche on YouTube, and why I feel like I'm a good teacher too. I try to make sure that people understand this stuff and
Oh,
do
you
things
even
like
yeah, you
get
even
video
have
shots right in on things and
videos on gold panning too.
what's that?
Had a gold pan.
Yeah,
I'm just
I'm
looking through your
actually
playlist.
I'm a professional gold panner too.
No way.
Um,
That's how he funded
so
this
lots of
big
skills
build
that I want to share with
budget
people.
build job.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be good. I wish I found that much gold.
That's
So
super
yeah,
cool.
and then like this YouTube channel, my full-time job is a teacher, and during the pandemic for COVID, we had to go online. And so I have a very hands-on automotive course that I have to teach, and I didn't want to just like photocopy the textbooks and send out questions to people. So what I did is I started making videos and putting them on YouTube
So
and
great.
trying to give them an assignment that they could do safely at home, right? Because they don't have tools, and I wasn't going to expect them to start jacking up cars at home and get crushed and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I did that for the rest of the year that we were online. And then that summer, the Canadian Welding Association actually found my videos and really enjoyed them and wanted to sponsor me to make welding videos. So I have a whole bunch of welding videos up there
Nice.
as well. And and now I've gotten to the point where I just want to make some cool stuff and show people how to do it. And right now it's virtual pinball.
Very cool. Yeah, you
And
got the pinball bug.
kind of
It's
funny that pinball was not even pinball was not even on my radar like 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. I knew about it, but wasn't really interested in it. And now that I've been in virtual pinball, I'm finding myself being drawn to pinball like crazy. I'm trying to play as much as I can, go to tournaments, learning new skills, and
yeah.
playing virtual pinball to learn all the rule sets and go and dominate when I go play. And and then when I go to the tournaments, I find out how little I do know.
Practice makes perfect, and learning rules is also really important. But yeah, I've noticed too, just there's
Yes,
such
yes,
a
it's
huge
so good.
gateway
The,
from people starting and learning about pinball really through the virtual pinball stuff, and then because they played these virtual pinball games, they start going out into finding actual arcades by them and playing the real thing, and I I think that's great. And there's always been like well, virtual pinball is not real pinball, but I bet when people start seeing the cabinet you made, it seems like it's gonna feel really dang close to real pinball. You know, you're adding a lot of like those aesthetic touches that you won't get if you're playing on a controller or Space Cadet on your with your mouse and keyboard. But yeah, let's check out where you are on your pinball machine. Could you give us a little tour of the actual
Sure.
cabinet status?
Yeah, so I'm just
Nice.
using my phone, so I'm gonna undo here and turn it around, and I'll show you the
You're on the
machine.
road. And it's so cool that you're literally doing this in your classroom. You just finished class and now you're jumping onto the live stream
This
to show us.
I had to delay the time a bit.
That's great.
This is
Oh,
the pinball cabinet.
yay, look at the big reveal.
Yeah, I got it all ready for like a reveal. It's not quite done, but it is
Nice.
a little ahead
Beautiful.
of where the videos are. Because I do only get to work and film every other day for a couple hours, so I do have to kind of get ahead on my stuff.
It looks pretty
So,
dang real and not virtual to me, but I know that's once you add the
no,
TV
not at
screen in
all,
and
right?
stuff. Yeah, so one quick thing first, can you turn your phone to be landscape?
Oh, yeah.
And then
Sorry. We
it's
talked about
okay.
that.
No worries. We want the full frame, the YouTube frame. All right, so walk us through what we're looking at here.
All right. So this is a wide body Williams-esque cabinet for kind of like space and savings and parts that'll fit. So for example, we can see a lot of Marco's specialties parts on here. So this is a Williams wide body pinball lockdown bar and receiver. That is a Williams going door, Williams plunger, the leg, etc. Right, all the stainless side rail, things like that, the hinges. So it's good to make these virtual pinball cabinets not completely on your own design, because that way you won't be able to fit these parts on.
Yeah.
Um, so on my budget build, I wanted to try to make as much as possible to cheapen it. So I didn't have that constraint, and I did do like an ultra body, ultra wide, which was like an inch wider, but then I had to make my own custom parts. But then I could fit the TV that I wanted to. So now this is a flat pack kit. So in my budget build, I did everything from scratch, my own designs, and did them up in SketchUp and did that. But for a big budget, and especially for people that maybe are not that woodworking savvy or they just don't have the space or the tools, this is an option. So this is a deluxe flat pack kit from pinballcabinet.com.
Very cool.
And this comes all pre-cut, CNC machine cuts, and instead of having to paint and sand and paint and sand, this has a melamine, black melamine on here that is a very nice finish.
Ah.
So very minimal prep work is needed. So basically comes like a big IKEA kit, and I've got a couple videos
It's
already
like
at the beginning
IKEA.
of this
This is
series
awesome.
for you to put it together.
Very cool. When
Yeah,
you were
and
giving
that's
me
a
the
bit of the
walkthrough
bar.
before, yeah, the back, I found that very interesting as far as like, usually we have to remove the back glass to get into the back panel, but this is, you have like a little fold out shelf and everything, and then, yeah, this
I grab the
underneath
key.
the cabinet part too.
So
Like a
yeah, you
little
can open
locker.
this up.
Wow.
And then there's the pre-made brace. Like none, all of this comes with the kit. So you can just mount
Very
your
cool.
monitor in here. So this is for the back glass art. And then this is basically a laptop replacement screen and the driver boards for that, for the full DMD. And I have pre-cut stuff for your speakers, a little slot for all the holes to go down,
Right?
the holding bolts for
Yep.
the back box,
Headbolts.
hinge plates. And then, yeah, on the back, you get your holes for your ventilation because this is basically a big, huge computer case at this point. So we got to get cold air in and hot air out.
So
And then eventually they're going to be putting a door on here.
those holes for the ventilation, that came with the cabinet like that
Yeah,
and the hole in the back? Okay,
yeah.
so
So
they're
all of
really
these holes.
making it for virtual pinball in my
Yeah,
in mind,
yep.
right? Because we wouldn't necessarily have fans in
No, and you
regular.
might not have this access patch here, right?
Right. No,
So that
yeah,
one
never.
is for so that you can access things at the back. And I'm going to be putting a computer on a pull-out drawer here, so you can really have access
Ah,
to work on the computer. And make
Nice.
fixes or modifications. But yeah, the flat pack kit is pretty bulletproof, and man, does it save a lot of time. That's for sure.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
Super slick.
So yeah, video series, we've done the T-molding already. And put the legs on with the leg protectors.
Nice.
And we got some vinyl here. So I really like Creature from the Black Lagoon. So I had a buddy make up some vinyl artwork for me. And because virtual pinball is not pinball, it's a little different. There may be
Oh
more
yeah.
button things like that. So in this
Oh
case,
yeah.
this would not have had 3 buttons. It only would have had 1 start button. So this is for buy-in and exiting games. And some
Oh,
people put
okay.
more, or some people even put less. And there's different programs to make it so that we can have extra buttons that are virtual buttons, kind of. So you
Does
don't
the
have to have
cabinet
20
come with
buttons
the
on the front.
Does the cabinet come with 3 holes right there? Or you added the extra holes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, these holes and the coin door hole and literally all this stuff is done already for you.
Amazing. Very cool.
Yeah, and then so on the inside,
Yeah, let's go in.
I'm kind of pre-thinking my build here. I've got some wire gunners here,
Mm-hmm. Ground
and
wire,
we
nice.
got some flipper and MagnaSave buttons. The one thing that's kind of different about VPin and real pinball is that you have to kind of make this able to be used for multiple tables, right? So some tables would have had a MagnaSave button, and some don't. But
Right.
if you don't have it in, then you can't play with it. So these are the leaf switches, 3D printed holder that I did in one of my videos. And these are from Arno. These are for the addressable LEDs. So we can literally
Oh,
change the
that's
color of
very
these
cool.
clear buttons to
Mm-hmm.
whatever the real cabinet had. So if it had yellow, it has yellow. If it's got purple, it's got purple.
Very
And
cool.
there's the plunger. And then this is a 3D printed piece to hold the board so that the computer can actually tell where this plunger is, right? Otherwise, it would have no idea
Oh, yeah,
how
I
hard
was
you're launching. So
wondering.
when you're doing a skill shot.
Wow, it can
Yeah.
really tell
And
how hard you're
then not much
plunging.
else is in here yet.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
Like if you
there's
want to
just
pull buttons and
sensors
you let
like
it go, it's
is it
going to
like
sense that distance. As long as
a opto settings? Sorry, my.
this one has a linear potentiometer. No, this one's a potentiometer. So it's like a variable resistor. And then the amount of electricity going and coming, it tells the PC where it's at.
Very cool.
So for example, maybe right where it's sitting now is really high resistance. So very little voltage goes out. When you slide it back, it
Here we go.
allows more voltage and less resistance. There's that.
Huh.
And then one thing I've started adding is some of these things like our sound system. So this one here, this one here's the sub, so regular 6.5-inch mid-range sub for our backglass music and sounds and callouts. This is a bass shaker or otherwise a transducer, and the smaller ones are called exciters. And so one of the cool things that I really find cool about virtual pinball is that the mechanical sound, like flippers and pop bumpers and slingshots and all that, these make those sound effects. And they don't make it like a traditional speaker where they push airwave and make sound. They actually vibrate and vibrate the cabinet, and the cabinet makes the sound. So not only do you hear the cool sound, you actually feel them too, right? You actually feel the clunk from a flipper shot or the clunk of a pop bumper bouncing away. So as you're holding on to the edge of the cabinet, you are literally feeling all that vibrations and
It's just
shaking.
vibrating.
So you're
Wow.
staring at a fake pinball game here, but at the same time, it feels real. It feels like there's real stuff in here shaking away. And not only that, where you place the exciters in the cabinet gives you a 7.1 surround sound effect. So you can have sounds transition. So transition from the left to the right or from top to the bottom. So when a ball's rolling from the top going down to the flippers, you can hear and feel that vibration. And so it adds to the realism of virtual pinball.
Was this speaker system made for virtual pinball, or does it have some other use in other applications and you
You know what?
decided to
I'm
put it
pretty
on
sure that
pinball?
these have been around. I'm pretty sure that exciters and transducers have been around before virtual pinball. But I mean, virtual pinball has been around 25 years, 30 years,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I
And
guess so.
I
I
think
didn't think about that.
I
Yeah.
I think when it was starting off though, it probably wouldn't have had any of this stuff, and it wouldn't have
Nah,
had things
that's
called
amazing.
direct output framework, which allows you to flash lights and external motors and real shaker motors and gear motors on the outside. Um, so that none of that would have been around. So this hobby has definitely changed over that time. And I think a lot of people that when you ask someone who plays pinball, do they like virtual pinball? I think they have played a lot of older virtual pinball machines or one that they've seen at like the Brick or like a smaller, cheaper version of it. And it just doesn't have all the bells and whistles. And this hobby is growing and it's getting cooler and cooler every week. There's new tables, original
Yeah.
pinball games that have never been created in real life are popping up. We're having more advancements to the programs, and they're becoming more realistic and needing more processing power. And so it's exciting to see where this virtual pinball is going to be. And I wouldn't doubt it if we start seeing some virtual pinball stuff being transitioned into real pinball.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then there's it's sort of like virtual pinball, but not. But if you're familiar with the multi-morphic cabinets, they have a big LCD screen and then actual ramps and flippers sitting on top of the LCD
Right.
screen. So
Like
the
the
LCD
Princess Bride
screen,
one, right?
right, exactly, like the Princess Bride one you want to get. You should get it. It'll go great
Yeah.
next
So
to this
now not
cabinet.
only can you
But right.
so now not only can you change the graphics, but you could make like special effects and things like that, right? Imagine throwing a screen at the very back of a real pinball machine and having lighting effects and things moving and yeah, you could do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that is actually interesting.
And
Would
I don't
you
know.
be,
I don't think I've seen real pinball machines using these yet.
we have like shaker motors which will vibrate the machine just to add like extra visceral reaction, but I don't think there's
Yeah,
something like that that's like translating the sound effects from the game into the cabinet. That's like a haptic suit for your pinball machine, it
yeah,
feels like.
that'd be a real cool thing to add.
Wow.
Yeah, like, and it's hard to explain, but there's certain games out there that you play that will use that effect to make kind of a cooler thing happen because not only are you hearing it, you're feeling it. So if like imagine it's something cheesy like a train in the game going from the left to the right. Well, you could make the sound of the train going over train tracks transition from the left to the right, and it'll feel like it's actually happening there, right? So as well as the normal call outs and music and everything else that's going on.
Very cool. I see you have so many fans
But
there
yes,
too.
a very cool hobby.
Does the does it get really hot? Like, because I see you have one, two, three, maybe
Well,
four
that I'm
fans.
not
Like, just
100%.
okay.
There's three for
Three.
now. I might
Yeah.
actually add a fourth. I'm going to see what my temps are like when I have it all running. And then on the back, there's a bunch of ventilation as well as in, I think, the door, there's even some ventilation.
Right.
But generally, we're getting the cold air to come in from the front, go to the back of the cabinet, and then get kicked out. So in my budget build, it was not a problem at all with four fans. This one's going to be a way stronger PC. In fact, it even has a liquid cooling thing that's going to be set up on it
Oh,
with even
cool.
more fans. So let's just see. If the temperatures are too hot, then I'll end up putting probably another hole right here and putting another fan. But
Oh,
I'm going
okay.
to try this one just to see if
Yeah.
the pinball cabinet outline layout is going to work.
So, the video
So
that
yeah,
premieres shortly is going over getting you to this point, right?
no. So the video that's coming, the videos that have come up to this point have gotten you um, building the flat pack cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
finishing the extra little edges and trim and painting a little bit, putting on the vinyl artwork, how to do that, putting on some of the parts from Marco's, so like the stainless rails and the back box hinges, and T-molding. So that's the videos up to this point. And then the video that's coming up in half an hour, 15 minutes here is all of the parts for the entire cabinet. So there's still quite a bit more that's got to get shown.
It's a shopping list.
All of your guys' Marco, yes, it's like a big shopping list. So all of the Marco Specialties parts that you guys sponsored for me. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And then the parts like the Hotar potentiometer bore from L'Atelier de Arnaud. And then there's also a whole bunch of parts like rear shaker motors, LED matrix, a new sound system with amps and all the exciters and stuff from Cleveland Software Designs. And then all the miscellaneous other stuff. So like the playfield monitor, those two monitors, the speakers. Yeah, there's a very long shopping list. So that's what's coming up in the video today.
Very cool. How do
and then,
you
like I said, I
rig
am a
the
little
monitor?
bit ahead in the build.
Oh, gotcha. You just couldn't stop.
Okay, that's a great question.
So much fun.
I did just have it in here, but I took it out to get ready for the next step. These are basically dowel rod holders. So there is a dowel that goes across, and it's part of the Pinball Cabinet .com kit that you can buy, so that you can buy an LG C3 or C4 monitor, and it comes with this kit. So there's a dowel here that acts like a hinge, and then it mounts on a board, and then basically you can tilt it up to get access in here to start working.
Oh, no,
and then when you're done,
nice.
you can tilt it down to be ready to play.
Is the TV heavy?
Much like a real pinball machine, right? Just a little
Yeah,
different.
that's exactly like it. That's great. I love when playfields just have a pivot point. Makes my life so much easier.
It's very expensive.
Very expensive. Is that like what brought
right?
your BOM price up?
Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking, right? Like my old TV for my budget build, to give you an idea.
Yeah.
I did my research and got a used 10-year-old TV that was top of the line 10 years ago, and it was $50. This one is top of the line for kind of nowadays, and now it's literally $1,500. So you got to be careful, right? And it's a little more fragile than the other one, and
thin.
Yeah, so it's okay. You just got to take your time. And
what size TV?
It's way
is it?
thin,
43 inches? Did you say? What size TV goes
It's
into
a 42-inch.
42.
And
okay.
So one of the things that you have to work into the design of these cabinets is we're trying to replicate a pinball machine, right? So like I said, it's better if you stick with a standard size or a wide body, and I kind of would recommend wide body, because then you have to fit a TV that's in production that you can fit in there.
Right.
And so if you go standard pinball size, usually the screens are really hard to find, or you're going to have to fit something in there and make some modifications. It's about a 40-inch TV. If you do a wide body, you can start going up a bit more, so 42, 43, unless you want to do some modifications to cutting into the wood, and you can maybe fit something a little bigger. But yeah, the trick is you're trying to find a TV that fills the length as well as this way. And pinball machines are not TV shaped.
No,
right?
they're a little bit
TV's
skinnier.
a little bit not as long.
Yeah, so you could have like a really short
so
TV.
What you have to do is
like
fill
how
up the
much space?
with
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, how do you fill up that extra space on the tops and bottoms where the TV doesn't match?
It is in a video coming up on mine, but essentially where the edge of this lockdown bar is going to be the edge of the screen, and then it ends somewhere about there. So there's about that much gap to fill.
Yeah.
And at that point, you have a choice. Do you put the screen down, much like a real pinball, so that you look down and see depth?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have room to put an LED matrix here, so you can put all visual light effects. Or the new trend these days is to put the TV right up at the top, because the point of view in the video game is shows the sides of the game. So if you are visually seeing the sides of the inside of the cabinet
in the screen
for real, and then you're also seeing it replicated. So if you do that, then you got to figure out something else up here, or you can add an apron, so you can extend something here and put instruction cards and things like that.
Which makes it feel more real.
Some people are doing little mini screens.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole hobby is. We're just trying to make these as realistic as possible and have some fun, right?
Do you put a glass, playfield glass in over the TV, or do you just leave it exposed?
Yeah, yeah. Your guys is from Marco Specialties. That wide body playfield glass is sitting in my office. Once again, trying not to distract it or break it.
Keep it safe.
But yeah, that's going to go in there on top
Oh, cool.
to keep it looking real and also to kind of protect the monitor, right? We don't want something dropping onto the monitor and
Yeah,
there
that's
goes
what I
1,500
was
bucks.
worried about. Yeah. I just think that
And then
that's crazy.
the current trend for pinball, I think even real pinball too, is to go with a bigger screen for the DMD so you
Right.
can show video clips and stuff, right? Because the old traditional ones would have been the 4-to-1 ratio, kind of just the DMD, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, now you can fit so much content on there. And then what's the above screen is just a screen for your like backglass display
So this would be
or
where this would be like simulating your translate, right?
yeah, got you. Very cool.
And technically you can do whatever you want, but traditionally
Let's
usually
see,
you
yeah.
just show your backglass artwork up there, DMD and store stuff there, and then your playfield.
Oh yeah, can we go back to
So yeah, very,
the
very cool.
the switches for the flipper buttons and look at those physical
Cool.
mechs? Um, the Phil's pinball, it's awesome tech. Working on real pinball machines, was curious on what type of switches you're using for the flipper button. And look, Phil, they're just normal leaf switches from the shop. And
These
then,
are literally authentic Williams leaf switches. And then it's a 3D printed leaf switch holder. And then the clear transparent buttons are the ones you can get from Marcos. And the only thing really different here is the adjustable LEDs board here from
right.
Arno, which will let you change the color. You can also get RGB versions of these for different controllers that are a little not as fancy. Yeah, I wish there was more to whole show here.
No, it's
We'll have
awesome.
to
I'm
do another one of
really,
these when this thing is
yeah.
done.
And then you have to bring it to some pinball shows so we can all play it. That would be really cool.
Well, we were talking about trying to get this thing for the Portland,
Yeah,
Tacoma,
yeah, yep, yep. You have till next June.
Tacoma, right?
Yep.
So that's my deadline. I got to get it done by then.
That's right. I forgot I already
Yeah, that'd be
planted that
awesome
seed.
that'd
The
be
other
awesome
cool
to be able
thing,
to. Yeah, you already planned it.
yeah, the other cool thing I really like about this, while we have some pinball people in, is this shooter rod with this uh, pot- potentiometer. Terrible. Potentiometer. My big brother in the other room. It's a
Potentiometer, yeah.
potentiometer. Yeah, because you have that real mechanical
So
feel,
one
but
of the
it's
things that
just
kind of
it's yeah. Go for it.
yeah, so there's some other things that we didn't really touch on about trying to get virtual pinball to make it as realistic as possible, because that is the trick, right? We're trying to trick the person into thinking they're actually playing real pinball. So this is one of the ways where you're basically a real analog movement, much like real pinball, and you let it go, has to get translated to the PC so it knows how hard and so you can make your skill shots. So that's one thing. The the exciters and
Right.
that
That's
kind of
the other
thing,
thing that's
making
super
real
rad.
mechanical sound and vibration is huge, is huge to this process. The other thing is there's another board which is not in here yet, which is the input output board, and I'm using Dude's Cab from Arnaud, and it
Nice.
has an accelerometer on it. And we both know how important nudging is to pinball. And so
Yes.
the computer needs to know how hard and what direction you're actually nudging. So this board with the accelerometer will detect when you're going forward nudge or flap save or whatever, and puts that into the video game and actually helps you nudge and play real pinball. So things like that are
That's
what's making this
amazing.
thing feel more realistic. There is also some things with 3D anaglyphic glasses and sometimes using a Kinect camera to actually get some eye tracking going on. So this build at
Oh.
the end, I'm going to try to get some of that set up. What that does is it makes the screen look 3D. So now not only does it
Oh.
look 3D, it actually almost really looks real with depth, and when you move your point of view, it will actually literally look like it's looking underneath ramps and things like that.
So you wear
So
like
something really cool to look
glasses?
forward to.
You would wear like glasses that have a little camera feed
There's a
on them
couple different
or?
ways. No, so the glasses are literally just like the polarized lenses you'd wear when you go to the theater to wear, like to watch a 3D movie,
Oh, sure,
or
sure.
they can be the old school black and or the blue and red. The blue and red 3D glasses they used to
Right.
pitch. It's kind of like that. So you can do that one way, and then you basically tell the computer that you're using those glasses, and then it interprets it and shows you that way. Or, like I said, the other way is using a Kinect 3D camera made by Xbox, and it has eye tracking software. So as you're moving your eyes at the end of the cabinet here, it literally adjusts the playfield to correspond with what you should see where your eyes are. So yeah, I'm interested to try that out as well.
Yeah, that's gonna be super
And
exciting.
then you were mentioning also the real pinball parts like shaker motors and gear motors, things like that. We're going to be putting that in here as well. So
Oh,
you make
nice.
that shot or whatever, and it's supposed to vibrate the cabinet.
So
Well,
much
it's going to do
fun.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. And lighting effects and stuff too. I'm sure we'll play a good role
Yes,
in
we're going to
Steve.
throw a ton of lights on here.
Nice.
There's going to be side LED strips that flash, and when you hit pop bumpers, they flash at you. And there's going to be a matrix that has, strobe effects and lighting and words and text. There's going to be LED strips in the lighting for the speakers that flash and correspond to the music and the shots. There's going to be under cab. There's also going to be behind the back box so that when you got this up against a wall, it'll light up the wall behind you.
Nice.
And I've got some really cool ideas for a topper for this thing
I was
when I'm
just
done
about
too.
to ask about a topper to as a
Something,
joke, but that's great. Nice.
yeah, no, we're going to do it. I still haven't narrowed down the idea, and I don't want to tell what it is, but I've got an idea for so that when you change games, it would still be relevant and cool, yet kind of fit this theme. So yeah, you'll have to wait and see that. And I got lots of surprises. There's a hole in here that we haven't talked about, and I'm not going to tell you, but that hole is going to be something cool too. That it's not found on any pinball cabinets, but we do it in virtual pinball sometimes. So
That's like a crazy trivia question. I'm gonna be like racking my brain all until I see that episode now. What is
if
that
there's any
hole for?
if there's any
Ret-
VPin guys, they might know. What do you guys think? What do you think that hole is right there at the
what
front of
is
the
that
cab?
hole for? Not
I
for
think you
running
know. Put it in the
cables.
chat.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
Oh my gosh, that is so great.
Oh yeah. Honestly, this is besides like this is about the best thing that I have ever
Oh,
done.
smoke machine?
Coolest project.
Is
No,
it for
just the whole virtual pinball cabinet in
No, the hole, is it for a smoke machine so you can have like the
that'd,
magic smoke come out as an effect?
that'd be cool, but getting kind of closer.
Nice.
Getting kind of closer.
It was a good guess. Good guess.
Yeah, the virtual pinball project has definitely been one of the coolest things I've ever made, besides my kids. And I'm really
It's
enjoying
good.
the hobby. And like I said, I want to stress that this is a hobby for us. There's a lot of dedicated people in this community that work really hard to share our knowledge and help preserve pinball. And like we were talking about before, that there's a lot of people that nowadays, the new generation of people getting into real pinball and buying real pinball machines have been playing virtual pinball first.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
lots of pros to virtual pinball. You can
Yeah, and I
learn your
can,
rule sets before you go out and
yep,
dominate at the tournament.
absolutely. And
There's
I can see
original
such a,
tables being
yeah,
created.
good crossover for the homebrew community. You can go the pathway of making your play field, through different virtual pinball programs and try it out and see how it feels before you start making and the physical build.
Yeah.
I see a
Check
lot
out
of
your shots and make sure it's good before you cut it all out. I
right.
just watched the video that Jack Danger showed about the new X-Men pinball machine, and he was
Oh,
showing visual pinball being used to be able to lay out shots and test shots before they did their final cuts.
that is
Yeah, it's
super
very cool.
rad. Um, oh no. All right. It's the show is
And
starting.
and
Uh,
and people that are playing, is it? Okay, well, we can hop over. But yeah, the last thing I want to say is people that have been playing Pinball FX and FX3, and they've bought the game and they've bought the tables, but they don't want to play on a joystick. So a lot of these guys are making these cabinets so they can have a real cabinet to play on.
that is so cool. We're so excited to
Yeah,
follow
awesome.
along your journey,
What?
and it'll be exciting to, do a few more PinTech lives like this leading up to June, to when we can see it and flip it in person. That'll be cool. So Emil, do you want to
Oh
turn the
yeah, that would be really
camera
cool.
back to you,
That would
and
be
you can
awesome.
do a proper send off where we can see your beautiful mustache. And again,
Hey, you guys get my mustache
Emil
again.
is
Yeah.
raising money to fight cancer. You can find that link on his YouTube page for his Movember. Is that what it's called? Movember? Movember? It's like Movember beard, but just
Yeah, November.
yeah. Um, I have it
No, that's
in.
December. December. That's when the beard comes back.
Oh, December beard. Is that what you're gonna do too? So you just started with a stash and then you're gonna go
Oh
bearding?
yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, the beard's coming back.
Very cool.
But yeah, whatever you guys can do, if you want to help me fight cancer, just take a look at the video
Yes,
description for my Movember video, and you can find the link there.
absolutely.
I
Let's
think you put it in the
definitely all
chat
help.
too.
I did. I did. I will actually drop it again before I drop this link one more time. Um, and this is awesome. What do we? Is this like your intro that's happening right here? Can you see? It's like
Is it a countdown? Is it a
no, it's
countdown?
like
If it
this
is, it's a
cool.
YouTube
It's
thing.
like this cool anime of
Yeah, I think that's the countdown
gears.
thing. So I think I scheduled it for 4. So I think it's going to do some gears and stuff for like 5 minutes or another 3 or 2 minutes.
Oh, okay, sweet. I was like, is this your
It's the first
intro?
time I've
New
done a
intro to
premiere,
your
so
show?
I
This is
probably wouldn't do
solid.
that in the future.
Right. Um, so everyone, you can
Yeah, no, I
actually
think that's a
jump in the
YouTube
chat here
premiere.
too. So when we end the stream in a few minutes, once this starts up, we can continue the chat um, in the Premiere chat box on Way of the Wrench. So everyone head over there and follow it. Links in the chat. Oh, the music's kind of nice.
And there's a lot of info
Super
and
slow.
probably a lot of new parts for people. If you have any questions, I will be watching the video and try to answer the chats as I can.
Very cool. Oops, let me go back to it. There, I think it's showing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Emil. It was a great walkthrough, and we're really excited about your new virtual pinball cabinet project. And I hope that this also helps inspire other folks to
You're
join
very
in.
welcome.
Yeah. And yeah, Emil showed me earlier,
Yeah, I
it's like
hope so
right
too.
behind him, he has a poster of everyone that has used his video for the micro budget build and then built their own versions of the cabinet. And it's like, it's so exciting. Like, look at this. Maybe what we need to do is get everyone together at a pinball show, and then we can have a whole little virtual pinball booth and celebration together. Maybe they would be.
That'd be cool.
Look at all that. That is super, super cool.
Yeah,
Congratulations for
so one of the
inspiring so
guys
much.
in,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, thank you very much. And honestly, as a teacher and an educator, it's really cool to kind of help people
Super red.
and hear back from people that you've helped in a meaningful way, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, very cool.
Yay. Good job, everybody. That's definitely a feat of
And I only
endurance,
hope to keep continuing.
preservation. Yeah, for sure.
So
Oh, look, the
after
countdown's
this build,
going.
I've got
So
all kinds of
exciting.
projects to do, And you and I were even talking about doing like maybe some homebrew down the road or,
Oh yeah, that's
um,
right.
yeah,
You're getting
lots
the
of cool
homebrew
projects.
bug. So Emil's next project is to actually build a completely physical pinball machine. So we're gonna hold you to that. That's gonna
And
be
I got to
great.
figure the theme out though.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, talk to your kids. It's always fun. Maybe you can find something, a theme that really resonates to them, and then it gives that kind of ties it all together sort of thing. I have a friend who's working on a Bluey pinball machine right now and another one that's working on Adventure Time.
Oh,
You know,
that's
they
cool.
love the series, but also their kids do too, so it just makes it really cool. And yeah, we actually had
Yeah,
a
that's
quite a
exciting.
few families that made the pinball machines that came out to Expo, like worked on it together, you know, as like, the young teenagers and the
Nice. Yeah,
it's super cool.
I didn't get to go to the expo, but I did see a bunch of them, like the Tony Hawk one,
Yeah, it's amazing stuff.
Pro Skater one. Really
Mhm.
cool. And I've
Super
been
cool.
following a guy that's doing oh, what's the circus theme one? The Greatest Showman. You seen
Oh,
that?
yep, yep. The Greatest Showman is an awesome
Yeah,
custom game.
yeah,
Yeah,
that looks insanely cool.
Borderlands had the whole playfield is on like these moving mechs that like actually tilt the playfield around and stuff.
Yeah, I
There's
saw that. It's cool.
super crazy innovative stuff like small pinball machines like in a little barrel that you can hug called Atom. It's just really amazing what people are doing right now in the builder and maker community. So you're part of that too. So
Yeah,
this,
it's
yeah,
exciting because
exciting. Yeah,
for like a while there, the arcades feel like they're dying, but for pinball, I feel like it's getting bigger and bigger, which
it
is really
is.
cool.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we'll jump in the chat, everyone. The link is in there. And Emil, congratulations again, and good luck with the rest of your journey. And we'll let's watch this cool video. It's going.
Thank you very much, and thank you guys at Marco Specialties for sponsoring all your parts and supporting me. Without you guys, this wouldn't be happening. So, thank you very
Uh,
much.
Thank you. All right, see y'all later. Go in the chat. It's right there. YouTube, Way of the
All
Wrench.
right,
We'll see
I'll
you
see
guys
you in
later.
chat from the other woman.
All right, goodbye.
Thank you, Moto.